no butter for dinner.
So what exactly went wrong? Maybe it was the song. It couldn't be that the golden age of the Stock, Aitken and Waterman hit machine was actually before Josh was born. Could it?
I think in the end, that song wasn't very good. Sorry, Pete Waterman, but I do feel it was a bit of a here's one in a drawer, here's one in a drawer.
The song was very, very poor. It was like something out of a Rick Astley album from the 80s. It didn't reflect anything remotely popular in the UK at the time.
Well, it was one of Pete Waterman's B-sides, wasn't it? It wasn't anything anyone's going to vote for.
But the song's called That Sounds Good to Me. Aren't you listening, people?
It certainly didn't sound good to anyone else on the night. It was certainly maybe a title that could have been improved.
The rest of Europe agreed, and despite the best efforts of the crowd, the UK came a crushing last on the night with just 10 points overall. But to be fair, most people realised that while Josh was no Kylie, he was stitched up like a kipper.
What happened with him is that he did his bit all right, and nobody else did their bit all right, and it all collapsed around him.
After taking a battering at Eurovision, alas, Josh Dubovy is no more. But don't worry, this Hall of Shamer has changed his identity and now trades under the moniker Josh James.
I have no regrets. I mean, there's only 56 other people that can say that they've represented the UK in the Eurovision. And for me, on my CV, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, here's something else for your CV, Josh. You're the final entrant in our Eurovision Hall of Shame. Along with Scooch, Blue, Engelbert Humperdinck, Gemini, Daz Sampson and Javine, they make up a not-so-magnificent 7 of Eurovision losers. May they not have died on stage in vain.
Right, well, this tip should grab your interest.
OK, I doubt that, but go on.
Well, it's about one of your top 3 things in life.
Oh, cricket?
No.
Midsummer Murders?
No.
Is it the old...
Yeah, that's right. It's about putting sex, or sax, into your performance in Eurovision to achieve the ultimate climax. And by that, I mean win, not the other thing.
Oh. Gross.
Some say Bucks Fizz's skirt rip-off was the moment when the sexual floodgates burst open at Eurovision. And as the years have gone past, we've seen the competition get increasingly risque.
I'm sexy and I know it.
Sexy performers are 10 a penny now, but one man whose sexy performance stood out like a pair of fake boobs was Iceland's Paul Oscar. Remember him?
Of course I remember Paul Oscar. It's one of the greatest 3 minutes of my life.
Back in 1997, his performance set the bar for sexual content at Eurovision in a provocative display of leather-clad ladies and crotch rubbing. What would Sir Cliff say?
Been there, done that.
It was, like, really provocative. He was sat on this white couch with loads of girls with fishnet tights with hardly anything on.
It was the most astonishing thing I've ever seen. I was on my knees in my living room in front of the television, worshipping it, worshipping it. And it's still one of the greatest 3 minutes ever in the history of humanity, isn't it?
And leave it to those ever-efficient Germans to take it one step too far and bring an actual stripper on stage.
First of all, there was this German band on stage where the lead singer, I swear to God, looked just like Zoolander. But then, all of a sudden, he goes over to the keyboard player and they go, "And now, Dieter Von Teese!" And you're like, what?
Please welcome Dieter Von Teese!
And all of a sudden, you see Dieter Von Teese come out and she's got like this riding crop and this corset all laced up. And I think that was the most blatant going for the male sexual vote I have ever seen in Eurovision.
Eurovision has definitely got sexier over the years. In a couple of years, it'll be on pay-per-view at midnight.
Hello? How do you do?
How much? Do I vote afterwards? Do I... Hello?
Before we come to the end of our guide to winning Eurovision, perhaps it's time to remember those that came close as we celebrate the UK's long and illustrious history of coming second.
We always used to come in the top 5, and in particular second.
Britain are Eurovision's nearly men. 15 times we've come second. It's almost an achievement in its own right.
In a way, it's a fantastic place to come because you've done very well at Eurovision, but you don't have to host it next year.
Nice way of looking at it, but try telling that to poor old Scott Fitzgerald, Paul Calf lookalike and victim of probably the UK's cruelest last-minute defeat in Eurovision history.
Scott Fitzgerald sang for the UK in 1988 and he lost in the very final vote when the Yugoslav jury gave Switzerland 7 points, putting Celine Dion ahead by 1 point and giving the UK nothing.
And finally, France.
It was right at the end. He had been leading more or less all the way and he fell down at the final hurdle.
After his cruel loss, a deflated Scott appeared on British television, still clearly suffering from the effects of his trauma.
When the vote actually came in for Switzerland from Yugoslavia, everybody just went whoosh and disappeared, and I felt the loneliest man in the whole world. I really did. It was a strange. I've never had that sensation before. You know, it was like having a little bird in your hand and it just flew away. It was really the strangest thing. I'm all cried out, you know.
Oh, pull yourself together, Scott.
To buck this trend, next year we need to cast some inconsiderate lovers, because they never come second.
So we've come to the end of our guide on how to win Eurovision, and here's a summary of what we've learned. Avoid reggae, yodeling, calypso, and of course, rap. Displaying a bit of flesh can get you noticed, but it won't get you a win. Make a good first impression when you're performing, don't be out of tune, and avoid striking out at all costs.
We didn't deserve nil point.
Be wary of political voting and singing in made-up languages. Try singing about love or world peace. But if you're going to talk about politics, make it subtle. Don't be smutty. Always dress up, not down, and don't forget your gimmick. Definitely dance about a bit, but don't try and be funny, trust me. And remember, a big name doesn't mean big success. And make sure you pick the right song title.
That sounds good to me.
Expect to finish second. And last, but by no means least, make sure your song is a timeless classic.
Like a puppet on the screen.
Which leads us nicely onto the final stage of our How to Win Eurovision guide.
Well, I know we've kept you waiting longer than a German adjective.
Or as a German might say, glücklich ein Kuchenkirche.
Happy cake church.
It's time for the Abschlussprüfung step.
Final step.
This is fun. Of how to win Eurovision. It's time to show every doubting Bjorn, Benny and Annie Fried how great Eurovision can be in our How to Win Eurovision Ultimate Top 5. Greg, strap in, prepare to be amazed.
Hey.
That's not an amazed noise, Greg. Try again.
Hey.
Oh, sehr gut.
At 5, the first entry into our ultimate countdown are the hard rockers who became the most unlikely Eurovision winners you're ever likely to see.
Laurie's Hard Rock Hallelujah, for me, is one of the best Eurovision songs and performances of the last 50 years.
I thought they didn't want to win this contest.